Artificial intelligence and tokenizations are no longer just buzzwords. They're reshaping the very foundation of finance. In 2025, we've seen AI-driven crypto platforms emerge, real-world assets like real estates and carbon credits being tokenized, and regulators like the Securities Commission Malaysia launching sandboxes to accelerate innovation in digital finance. And to help us understand better on this situation, we have ready on the line is Tang, General Manager for APAC, Luno, Malaysia. I want to say thank you very much, Aaron, for joining me after such a very long holiday and happy Malaysia Day. How are you, Aaron?
I'm good. Thank you, Nina, and happy Malaysia Day to you as well.
Thank you. Firstly, Aaron, talking deeper into our conversation, we know that crypto has gone through many cycles, but we're now seeing two powerful forces, AI and tokenizations, reshaping the space. From your own POV, how are these trends redefining the future of finance?
Very, very interesting concepts indeed, Nina. So the way I think about AI, it's like a super, super smart assistant. It's something that helps us, and it can do really, really cool things. For example, number one, it can analyze tons of data to spot scams, for example, or bad things happening. Number two, it could help design smarter trading tools or investment strategies. And of course, I think we know AI, number three, it can make processes more efficient, it can make things faster and safer. Now, when I think about tokenization to me is about turning real-world assets. When we talk about real-world assets, this could be the stocks, it could be property, it could be art, turning them into digital tokens where you can trade online. So it could make things much easier in terms of investing. So instead of buying a huge piece of a property or something, you could buy a slice of something big, say 1% of a project or something like that. So I think it's really interesting when you use AI and tokenization together, because it allows you to do very, very interesting things. So for example, it could break down barriers that you see between that currently exist between, say, traditional finance, for example, banks or stocks or traditional assets, and the newer forms of investing, for example, those that exist in the digital asset world. And I think most importantly, it's going to make money and investing feel very, very natural. It's just like using your phone and an app today. And these are the things that will enable this kind of good kind of experiences for customers.
Definitely, we take a look at this transition to a better, faster, and even safer when we talk about in terms of investment and trading. I like what you mentioned also. This is also giving a new opportunity for us to buy a slice rather than the big chunk of it. And most of it, it's very important that we can see all of this trends. It's also we can say it's covering all the gaps within the traditional finance, investment, trading into a new form of trading and investing. And AI is everywhere now, Aaron, but how is it specifically influencing the crypto and DeFi ecosystem beyond just being a productivity tool?
So just beyond being productivity tool, right? Something quite interesting that AI can help with is things related to trading and investing, because AI is actually really good at scanning huge amounts of data. They can do data processing so much faster than humans can do it. So what this means is AI can help us in spotting things that humans might miss. For example, they can look at behaviors of people making trades and so on. And this can actually lead to things like fraud detection, or if someone is trying to manipulate the market and so on. AI might actually be able to detect it much faster than, say, a team of humans. So it's a very, very powerful tool. And another angle I want to bring up is, for example, AI can also help with things like risk management and credit scoring, because traditionally these kind of functions may require a little bit more human intervention. But again, with AI tools, you can crunch so much data so fast, you can actually make a lot of productivity gains in some of these traditional functions.
Do you see we can say that from your vantage point at Luno, are you seeing AI playing a role in areas like user education, and then also the fraud detection, as you mentioned, or even trading behavior or any other aspect that we can see from the structure?
Definitely in terms of things like fraud detection and what I mentioned earlier, detecting market manipulation. So if people are trying to manipulate the markets in a bad way, The tools that we use today, they are also very, very much empowered and supported by AI. So that's already being implemented in our tech stack, as they call it. And I think one interesting angle that we have already implemented AI is in terms of interactive education. So when you reach out to our platform, or you go on our platform today, we actually use AI to actually help users. So for example, it could be late at night or early in the morning where humans are actually not online yet, but customers are actually able to interact with Luno if they have any questions and so on. The AI is helping us answer some questions and also educate the users.
And do you see any risks or misconception about using AI in financial platforms that the industry needs to be more aware of?
I think it's very, very natural for us to fall into this false sense of security, right? Because AI is like very, very smart. It can do so many things. So I think that the risk is when people trust AI completely. They trust the black box, right? Whatever the AI says, okay, I'm not going to use human judgment anymore. I'm just going to follow whatever the AI says. Now, that is obviously a big, big challenge. I think ultimately humans are really good at judgment. We're good at wisdom, right? So we should not be following 100% what the AI says. We should be using it as a tool to help us, for example, crunch a huge amount of data. But ultimately, especially when it comes to sensitive decisions, human judgment is probably going to be very, very important here.
Correct. Despite that we have AI as a tool, we also still need the human function within the operation. And tokenization is starting to reshape also how we view assets, from real estate to even carbon credits. How do you think this impacts investor behavior, especially in the Southeast Asia?
Yeah, very, very exciting developments, Nina, here, because tokenization can actually help democratize access to investments that were previously out of reach. So the example that I gave earlier, not many of us can afford to buy a building or, even invest in a property project, right? But if, for example, the benefits of tokenization are realized, for example, if we can fractionalize investing in property into smaller tokens, that may allow people to invest in these smaller fractions. Now, that's the first benefit. Now, apart from that, there's things that can happen, like it will enable people to diversify their portfolios. So, for example, previously, most people are investing in, say, the EPF, or most people are buying a little bit of amanah saham or stocks, but they will be able to diversify their portfolios with tokenization, because now people have access to many, many other investments. And I think that's good because it gives people choices. It gives people the ability to diversify. And I think lastly, tokenization also allows cross-border opportunities, because before this, sometimes we're quite limited by geography. So if I'm Malaysian, I typically invest all my money in Malaysian assets. But if tokenization benefits are realized, I may be able to access very, very easily assets in other parts of the world, whether I want to invest in, say, Japanese assets or Hong Kong or US and so on.
This definitely we can see opportunities across region. And take a look at the Securities Commission Malaysia that launched a tokenization sandbox last year. How do you see this shaping the regulatory or innovation landscape here?
Yeah, it's, again, very, very exciting, right, Nina? Because I think the challenge that many financial services or many financial service teams who are thinking about launching something, they are very worried, because financial services, we need to be compliant, right? We need to make sure that everything we do is not risky in terms of, say, money laundering and so on. So that's a short way of saying that, well, that's a long way of saying that compliance costs is actually a very real thing. But when you have a sandbox, I think this allows a lot more innovation to happen, at least in the short term. A sandbox gives people a space to experiment and so on. And then when you get to a certain size, a certain level of success, that's when more of the what do you call that? For example, compliance items can be built in and so on, and scaled at that point of time. So it's a very, very interesting thing for projects, because it allows companies to start small and then prove their business case. And I think more broadly speaking, it's a very, very good initiative for Malaysia as a whole, because this is basically signifying to the people, the entrepreneurs, the tech community, the financial community, that Malaysia has very, very big ambitions that we want to grow in this area of digital assets. And I think that's really, really good for the country. And it's a step definitely in the right direction.
And we're talking about the future of finance, AI and tokenizations, and your personal view, if you had to choose AI or tokenization or utilization of AI 70% or tokenization 30%, it might changes or how you utilize the capacity of utilization on your own personal. But which do you think will have a bigger long-term impact on finance in the next 5 years and why?
Tough question because you're asking me to choose. I mean, ideally, both is gonna happen. Both is gonna help, right? But I think tokenization effects is quite clear for us to see today. The things that we spoke about, right? Giving investors more access, making things available to customers from different parts of the world. I think those are the things that we're already seeing happen today. So it's very, very clear that tokenization benefits are very concrete, and they're being adopted all over the world right now. In terms of AI, I think AI, we're still at the start of it, so it may be a little bit harder to see what are the benefits of AI on finance in a couple of years. It may be a bit hard to predict at the moment. So if you ask me to choose, I'm going to say tokenization is very clear right now. But of course, as with any technology, everything is going to help us because they're basically tools for us to lead to a better future.
All right, we know that AI and tokenization is not only the new tool or is trading within the trading and investment ecosystem, but it's also the future of finance. And thank you, Tang, for helping us understand all the risks and opportunity from this. And again, I hope we can have more conversation on this. Again, thank you very much, Tang, the General Manager for APAC Luno Malaysia, and definitely all of our discussion here will be featured in astrawani.com and across all social media platforms.